Hi guys, welcome back. So we are trying to understand what is Jenkins and how to work with Jenkins. So Jenkins is a free and open source software. That Jenkins is software developed using Java. By using Jenkins, we are automating build and deployment of our applications. We can achieve CI/CD by using Jenkins, continuous integration and continuous delivery. We have created one virtual machine in the AWS cloud. In that machine, we installed Jenkins server. Jenkins will be running by default on the port number 8080. In the Jenkins, we are going to create the jobs and we are going to execute the jobs to automate the build and deployment. So whatever the job we create in the Jenkins, we can run that job manually or we can schedule the job based on some period. So every 1 hour, I want to run my job, or every day I want to run my job. Like that, we can configure scheduled builds also in the Jenkins. Now, so if you see, the Jenkins is playing very important role in the DevOps culture. So development team will write the code, they will push the code into Git repository. Then the rest of the work will be taken care by Jenkins. Taking the code from the GitHub, build that code by using Maven, review that code by using Sonar, upload that artifact into Nexus, then finally deploy that code into server. So everything will be automated by using Jenkins. Guys, in the Jenkins, we are going to create the jobs. So as we discussed, jobs will be created in the Jenkins. There are two ways to create the jobs in the Jenkins. One is freestyle project, that is a GUI approach. And the second one is pipeline, that is a scripting approach. So as of now, we have created our jobs by using freestyle project. Got it. Next one, build and deployment job. We have done this job creation. So in the Jenkins, we have created a job. That job is going to take the code from the Git as first step. Then second step, it will do the Maven build. Maven we configured as a global tool. Then third step, using deploy to container plugin, that war file is deploying to Tomcat server. Tomcat server is running in the another machine. Jenkins is running in one machine. Tomcat is running in another machine. So we are able to trigger the job. Jenkins is taking the code from the GitHub, doing the build by using Maven, doing the deployment by using Tomcat. So this is build plus deployment job. Now, today we are going to understand what is master and slave configuration in the Jenkins. Now here guys, in the project, multiple microservices will be available. For every microservice, we are going to create one Jenkins job. Suppose if you take an e-commerce application, in the e-commerce application, there are 30 services available. For 30 services, we are going to create 30 Jenkins jobs. For every project, one Jenkins job will be available. And in the team, multiple developers, multiple testers, and multiple DevOps engineers will be available. When multiple developers are there, they will be running the multiple jobs parallelly in the Jenkins. When they run multiple jobs parallelly on the Jenkins, then load will increase on the server. Already Jenkins is having rich UI. Because of this rich UI, Jenkins is already heavyweight server. Lot of weight will be there on the server because it is running the Jenkins UI application. Already UI application running on that machine for the Jenkins. Along with that, if you run our application jobs on the same Jenkins machine, then burden will be increased on the Jenkins server. Suppose assume that there are 30 jobs available. So in my team, multiple developers and testers are available. All those developers and testers are running all the jobs parallelly. So at a time, multiple people are running the jobs parallelly in the Jenkins. When multiple team members running the jobs parallelly in the Jenkins, it will increase burden on the Jenkins. To reduce that burden on the Jenkins, in the real time, we are going to configure master and slave configuration. Master and slave configuration. So Jenkins master machine will be available and slave machines also will be available. So what we do is On the master machine, we will create the job, but execution we will do on the slave machines. So it is used to distribute the load. It is used to distribute the load. Now, already we have taken one machine. In that we have installed Jenkins. That machine we will consider as a master machine. In the master machine, we will create the Jenkins job, but execution will happen on the slave machine. So in the Kubernetes also we have seen master node will be available, worker nodes will be available. When we send the request for the master node and the control plane, it will schedule the pods in the worker nodes. So here, similarly, in the Jenkins also, master slave configuration will be available. So what is the purpose of this master and slave configuration? Master slave configuration is used to reduce burden on the Jenkins. It is used to reduce burden on the Jenkins. Suppose here in my Jenkins 30 jobs available. If I run 30 jobs at a time, load will increase on the Jenkins server. So it is not recommended to run multiple jobs on the single machine. So if multiple jobs run on the single machine, burden will be increased on that machine. Then that machine can crash. So to avoid this problem, we are going to configure master and slave configuration. So jobs will be created on the master machine and the job execution will happen on the slave machine. So now here you can take multiple slaves and you can attach to the master machine. We can create the slave machines and we can attach the slave machines to the master machine. So in the master machine, job will be created, execution will be happening on the slaves. Guys, what is the advantage with this approach? Instead of running our application jobs in one machine, if I go for master slave configuration, what is the advantage we are going to get? What is the advantage we are going to get with this master and slave configuration? Jobs will be created on one machine, job execution will happen on the another machine. Suppose 3 people want to run the jobs. First job will run on the slave 1, second job will run on the slave 2, third job will run on the slave 3. So instead of running 3 jobs in the single machine, I'm running each job in one machine so that burden will be reduced. Burden will be reduced. Now here guys, when we go for this master slave configuration, you no need to install Jenkins in all the machines. Jenkins software will be installed only on the master machine. There only we will create the job. On the slave machine, Jenkins software installation not required. In the slave machine, only our job will be executed. Job creation will happen on the master machine. Job execution will happen on the slave machine. Are you guys able to follow me? Just read this. Master and slave configuration in Jenkins. For every project, we will create one job. Suppose if you take one e-commerce application or banking application, multiple microservices will be available. For every microservice, one Jenkins job will be created. Multiple developers will be running jobs parallelly to deploy the code into dev environment. Suppose there are 30 developers available. They are running the jobs parallelly. So if we run multiple jobs at a time, then load will increase on the Jenkins server. So to reduce the load on the Jenkins server, we will use master and slave configuration in Jenkins. So here in the master and slave configuration, in one machine, we will install the Jenkins that we will consider as a master machine. And we will take some other machines as slave machines. Slave machines we will attach to the master machine. Then job creation will happen on the master machine. Job execution will happen on the slave machine. You can take 2 slaves, 3 slaves, 1 slave also. You can take multiple slaves. If we know how to create one slave, how to attach that with the master, you can attach any number of slaves for the master. Right. Now in the slaves machines, you no need to install. In the slaves machine, you no need to install Jenkins, guys. Jenkins installation will happen only on the master machine. All right. Good. Perfect. Now let me show you how to set up this. Let's log in into our AWS account. EC2 instances. I need to start my Jenkins server. Yeah, here my Jenkins server is available. Start this. If you want to deploy, then we can start our Tomcat server as well. Jenkins server is available. Now let me open the dashboard of the Jenkins. Tomcat started. Jenkins is still not started yet. I'm waiting for that. Jenkins still it is in the pending. It is trying to start. As I told you, Jenkins is heavyweight software. So the machine itself taking time to start it. Yeah, public IP. With this public IP, we can hit that Jenkins UI page. 8080. Jenkins server will run by default on the port number 88. So it is saying that please wait while Jenkins is getting ready to work. Your browser will reload automatically when the Jenkins starts. Yes, my browser reloaded, my Jenkins started. Let me log in into my Jenkins account. Done. Yeah, so I'm able to log in into my Jenkins machine. Okay, guys. So here we have one machine. In this machine, we have Jenkins software. Can we consider this as a master? Can I consider this as a master now? Come on, guys. Can we consider this as a master? Yes, already we have a machine. In that machine, Jenkins software is installed and it is working. We can consider this as a master machine. Now what I need to do, I need to create the slaves and I need to attach the slaves to the master. I need to create the slaves and I need to attach slaves to master. Now let us see how we are going to do that setup. Jenkins master and slaves configuration, guys. Jenkins master will schedule the jobs, will attach, will hand over the work to the slave machines. Then what is slave machine? Slave machine will take the request from the master machine and slave machine will execute the jobs. So master machine is responsible to schedule the jobs to the slaves. Slaves will get the request from the master and the slave will execute the job. Master machine and slave machine. How to set up that? First one, create the Jenkins master. We are already having that. We created one EC2 instance. We connected to that Git client, Java, Jenkins, Maven, Git, Maven plugins, port number, Jenkins server in the browser and login. We are already having our master machine. We no need to create that once again. Whatever the machine we are using from last 1 week to run our Jenkins, that machine I will consider as my master machine. Now we need to understand how to set up slave. Create Jenkins slave. So create one EC2 instance, connect it to that instance using MobiXtrum, install the Git client, install the Java software, create one directory as home/Ubuntu. That is a slave node. So now I need to set up one machine. That machine I will consider as a slave machine. That machine will be attached to the master machine. So how to do that? Let's observe the process. So here in the document I have given working with Jenkins master and slave architecture. Jenkins master, step 1, we need to create one machine and we need to install Jenkins. We already have that machine ready. So we no need to do that again. Now go for Jenkins slave machine. Okay. So fine. Let me run one more EC2 instance. New Jenkins slave. Let me give the name as Jenkins slave VM. I'm taking this as Ubuntu server 20. And here T2 micro, key pair, security group, existing security group I'm taking, and that's it. I'm taking one new machine, the machine name Jenkins slave VM, Ubuntu flavor I'm using, instance type is micro, free tier eligible, login key pair, and security group I have selected, and click on launch instance. Fine. So with this new EC2 instance got created, this EC2 instance I will consider as a slave machine. In this slave machine, we no need to install Java and all. We need to install Java, Git, but not Jenkins, guys. Jenkins installation not required in the slave. Jenkins will be available in the master. Okay, perfect. My machine started. Let me connect with this machine using Mobile Extra. Session SSH remote host. Username is Ubuntu. Private key, we have the PEM file and connect with that machine. Perfect. Install Git client and install Java software and create one directory. That's it. These are the just 5 steps we need to perform. Created that machine and connecting with that machine using Mobile Extra. Install Git client, install Java. So Git client sudo app install git. Git is installed. Next one, sudo app install default JDK. So I'm installing Java in this machine. It is taking time to install the Java. Yes, guys. Meanwhile, let us see. So master machine is ready. Now our one more EC2 instance got created. Now we need to attach this slave machine to master machine for the communication. So in the Jenkins server, we need to configure the slave machine details so that whenever the job is triggered, master machine will give the job to the slave machine for the execution. So two computers, two virtual machines I have taken. In one machine, my Jenkins is running, that is called as a master machine. I have taken another machine, that is a slave machine. As of now, there is no relation between the two machines that I have. Now I need to establish the relation between those two machines. If you go to my EC2 dashboard, the instances are running here. Jenkins server is running, that is our master. T2 medium type I have taken. And now, just now, I have created Jenkins slave machine. It is a T2 micro. So Jenkins server, that is my master. Jenkins slave is available. We have created just now. As of now, there is no relation between our Jenkins master and Jenkins slave. Let me rename this Jenkins master server. Let me keep it as master server. Just name I have changed. Jenkins master server available and Jenkins slave is available. Currently, there is no relation between the master and the slave. We need to establish the relation between master and slave for the communication. So how we are going to establish that relation, we'll see that. My Java software got installed. After Java got installed, create one directory in the home directory. That is a slave node, just mkdir slave node. That's it. So we have created one directory. So with this, Jenkins slave creation completed. I have taken one EC2 instance. I connected to that instance using Mobile Extra. I installed Git client and I installed Java software. Then I have created one directory called slave node directory in the machine. That's it. Now, the most important point is this. Configure slave node in the master node. We need to attach the slave node with the master node. How to attach the slave node with the master node? Jenkins dashboard, manage Jenkins, manage nodes, and add the new node and give the node directory and label, method, how this master will connect with the slave. We need to provide all the details. Okay, guys, observe this step is very important. This step is very, very important now in order to attach slave machine with the master machine. So total 12 steps involved. Total 12 steps involved in order to connect the slave machine with the master machine. Observe carefully. Configure slave node in the Jenkins master node. Go to Jenkins dashboard. Now here we are having our Jenkins server. In the Jenkins server dashboard, we can see manage Jenkins. In the manage Jenkins, there is an option called manage nodes option is available. Manage Jenkins, then go to manage nodes. In the manage nodes, here currently built-in node is available. That is our master node. Now we need to add the slave node. For that, we will go for new node option. So go to Jenkins dashboard, go to manage Jenkins, go to manage nodes and clouds, click on the new node, enter the node name, select permanent agent. Click on the new node, enter the node name, whatever the node name you want to give. I want to give it as slave 1. Slave 1. Any name you can provide. Slave 1, permanent agent, click on create. So with this, my slave 1 getting created. This is my Jenkins slave node 1. This is my Jenkins slave node 1. Number of executors. How many executors you want, you can configure for that. Remote root directory. So what is the remote root directory? We created one directory in the slave machine, right? Now, present working directory, home Ubuntu. Along with this, cd space slave node, and present working directory. So this one, we will call it as remote root directory. Now, I'm taking the remote root directory. So I created one directory in that direct machine. In the slave machine, I created one directory. I'm copying the path of the directory. I'm giving as a remote root directory. What is the meaning of that is, when my job is executed in the slave node, in this directory, the job should be executed. In this directory, the workspace should be created in the slave machine. I hope you are clear. I created one directory and I configured the directory as a root directory. Now, giving the labels, you can give any label here. Label 1, I'm giving as slave. Label 1, I'm giving as a slave 1. Got it. Now, select launch method as launch agent via SSH. Launch agent via SSH. Now here, guys, we need to specify host. What is our host? So now here, give the host as slave VM DNS URL. Slave virtual machine DNS URL will be available. How to get that DNS URL? Go to your Jenkins slave machine. When you go for Jenkins slave machine, here we can find out public IPv4 DNS. You can copy this URL. Observe carefully. So I have selected my Jenkins slave VM. For the Jenkins slave VM, public IPv4 DNS will be available. Copy this DNS and provide that DNS here. That is the host. Host. That means what is the slave machine? Where is your slave machine? I'm giving the public IP address of that slave machine. EC2 user, public DNS I have given. So remember this step. Give the host as slave VM DNS URL. You can get it in the AWS, right? Now, so here I have selected my machine. Public DNS is displaying. Copy that DNS and provide the DNS credential. So now, in order to connect the master node with the slave node is having credential. That means we have created this machine with the key pair. Ubuntu is the username. Password we don't know because Ubuntu is the default user. PEM file is available to connect with the machine. So same thing we need to tell in the master. In order to access the slave node, I will tell you username and I will tell you PEM file. Click on add. So here we know the username, but we don't know the password because we are using Ubuntu user. So for that, what I will do, SSH username with the private key, because for this slave machine, I know the username and I have a PEM file. Private key is available. So now I want to connect with that by using that PEM file. See here, I'm configuring the slave machine details, slave 1, then remote root directory path I have given, label I have given, launch method via SSH. That means how master should communicate with the slave. For that, launch agent via SSH option I'm taking. Host name, I'm giving the DNS, public DNS of that Jenkins slave machine, credential. So credentials, I don't have it. Let me add that. Add Jenkins, username with password. By default, it is coming with the username with password. For the Ubuntu user, only username we know, password we don't know, but we have the private key, PEM file. Select SSH username with the private key. Okay. Now ID, let me give as slave credentials. Slave node 1 credentials. Slave node 1 credentials. Yeah. What is the username? Username is Ubuntu. Username is Ubuntu. Now private key. Enter that private key. Select this option. Enter key directly. Now key not available. Add that key. So here we need to enter our private key. Where is our private key? Private key is available in our PEM file. Go to key pairs. Here we have a key pair. Ashok ID PEM file is available. So we need to get the private key from the PEM file. Go to git bash cat PEM file so that it will give you that private key, guys. So wherever your PEM file is available, which you use to create the slave machine, go to that PEM file location, execute a command called cat command PEM file. When you execute a cat command with the PEM file, it will give you the private key. Copy that private key. Whatever the private key you got, copy that private key. Then paste it. End of private key. Here begin private key and here end of private key. That's it. Click on add. Now you need to select Ubuntu slave node credentials. That's it. Ubuntu slave node credentials. So I have given the steps clearly. Give the host name as DNS URL. Credential kind as username with private key. Enter the username as Ubuntu. Select private key directly and add the private key. So to get the private key, open your bit bash from PEM file location and execute the below command to get the private key from the PEM file. Cat key pair name. So it will give you that key pair in the git bash, copy and paste in the Jenkins. Strategy as trusted key verification strategy. So now verification strategy, trusted key, manually trusted key verification strategy. Okay, fine. So with this, we are able to add that. Now copy and save the configuration. So with this, I have added my slave node. So with this, slave node is done. Above steps, slave configuration got completed. Now go to Jenkins server and create the Jenkins job. So now when I am creating the Jenkins job, I will specify where this Jenkins job should run. At the time of job creation itself, we are going to specify where this project can run and enter the slave node label and finish the job creation. Then execute the job using build now option. Then our job will be executed on the slave node. Perfect. So with this, our master slave configuration got completed. Guys, you see master node and slave node. Master already we have, whatever the machine we are using from first class in the Jenkins. Same machine I'm using as master machine. I have created one more machine. That machine I'm considering as a slave machine. That machine I'm considering as a slave machine. So after that, we need to attach our master and slave. So slave machine I need to attach to the master. For that, these are the steps that I have done. So username and private key. Username is Ubuntu. Private key we will get from the PEM file and I added that. So with this, slave is a configured. If you go to your dashboard, manage Jenkins, manage nodes, you can see slave one is available. Built-in node is available. Slave one is also available. Perfect. Now good. Now let us create our Jenkins job. That Jenkins job I want to trigger in the slave node. So simple demo job I will create. New item, freestyle project. I'm taking it as demo job. Demo job freestyle project. Click on OK. Next one. See here, there is an option in the general section, restrict where this project can be run. So that means we need to specify where do you want to execute this job. Label expression. So we have a label called slave one. Slave one is the label. That means I have given where this project can be run. So when we are creating the Jenkins jobs, we have not given this option. Now we are giving this option, restrict where this project can be run. I have selected this as slave one. That means here, this job should be executed on the slave. This job should be executed on the slave. Perfect. Now, source code management, GitHub repository URL, okay, and build triggers and all, we are going to specify. Currently, I'm not specifying anything here. Directly go for build step. I want to execute one shell script. Echo, I want to print. Echo Jenkins job executed. Just I want to show you demo purpose. Jenkins job executed. Click on apply, click on save. So with this, our job got created. Now go to this slave node directory. Currently in the slave node directory, what happened? Some remoting.jar, remoting is happened. That means we connected this master node and slave node. So currently job execution is not happened on the slave machine. Now let me run the job. Click on build now. One demo job I created, just echo message will be printed. Echo message will be printed. Just go to this job ID, build number, go to console output. In the console output, see this build started by user Ashok IT, running as a system, building remotely on the slave one in the workspace, home Ubuntu slave node workspace demo job. So echo Jenkins job executed, my shell script executed successfully, finished success. Now go here to the slave node. Let us execute the command and see. Now can you see workspace created on the slave node? So this is my slave node. In the slave node, my workspace is created. If we see that workspace, ls-l workspace, my demo job is created. ls-l, my demo job will be available. So this is the job I have created. So where I have created the job, guys. Job creation happened where? Job created on the master or job created on the slave? Job created on the master or job created on the slave? People are giving wrong answer. Job created on the master node. Job created on the master node. Job execution is happening on the slave node. Job is created on the master node and job is executed in the slave node. Clear? Now, see here, demo job is available, dashboard. My demo job created. Slave one is available. If you go to slave one, in the slave one, my demo job got executed. Demo job executed on the slave node. If you go to this console output, clearly it will show you building remotely on the slave one. Agent slave one is available. In that demo job is executed. So now let me show you one more job creation. Git Maven integration job. I need the Git repository. Let me take this Git repository. Perfect. Okay. Now observe here, guys. I want to do one more job creation. One more job creation, new item. Demo job 2. Freestyle project. Okay. Here, restrict where this project can run. I'm giving the option. Select label expression. We have the label with a name called slave1. Select it. So that means I want to run this job on the slave one. One slave is added. You can add multiple slaves also like this. Whatever the process that we have done to add the slave. Configure slave node in the master node. You can repeat this process if you want to add multiple slaves also. I have taken one slave. When I'm creating the Jenkins job, here I'm selecting one option, restrict where this project can be run. This project can run on the slave one. Select this properly. So once it is selected, source code management, Git repository. So this is my GitHub repository URL. It is a public repository, no need of any credential. Branches to build, master branch only I want to take it. Build triggers. So I want to trigger that manually. Build environment, I'm not giving anything. Build step. Execute Maven target. So how to execute the Maven target? Select the Maven, then goals. Let me give it as clean package goal and post build action. If you want to deploy to the Tomcat server, you can configure the Tomcat server details, how we configured last time. Click on apply, click on save. Now I have created demo job. It is not executed for first time as well. Now I want to execute this job. So job I have created on the master node, but I want to execute the job on the slave node. Now go to this machine, slave node, ls-l workspace. In the workspace currently, demo job is available. Demo job 2 is not available. Now let me trigger that job. Go here and click on build now. I'm running the job. Yes. See console output. Now you can see that running as a system, building remotely on the slave machine. It is cloning my GitHub repository and it is downloading Maven because first time Maven build is happening on the slave machine. So it is downloading all the required dependencies for that. So building the war file, you see my build got success. Building the war file, home, Ubuntu, slave node, workspace, demo job 2, target, Maven, war file got created. Maven war file got created. Now go to here, you can execute workspace, demo job 2 created, cd demo underscore job underscore 2. No. cd space workspace. Okay. Inside the workspace, demo job 2 available, cd space demo job 2. In the demo job 2, now you see our Maven project build got completed, target directory, ls-l target. Now you see our Maven project war file got created. Are you guys clear? Are we able to build the job in the slave machine? Are we able to build the job in the slave machine? Yes, we are able to build the job in the slave machine. But did you observe, did I install Maven in the slave machine? Did I install Maven in the slave machine? No. Then how Maven build is happening? That is a global tool. Master node is doing that. Master node sending that Maven configuration to the slave machine. We have not installed Maven on the slave machine. Maven we configured as a global tool in our job. Maven we configured as a global tool in our job. So with this, I hope you understood how to work with master and slave configuration in the Jenkins. So multiple jobs will be available for our projects. So when we are running multiple jobs parallelly, if we run in the one machine, burden will be increased on that machine. To reduce the burden on the Jenkins server, we are going to use a concept called master and slave configuration in the Jenkins. In the master node, Jenkins server will be available, and in the slave node, Jenkins server will not be available. So slave node will be attached to the master node. Job creation will happen on the master node. Job execution will happen on the slave node. In the real time, for our Jenkins master, 4-5 slaves will be attached because multiple team members will be running the jobs parallelly. Multiple team members will be running the jobs parallelly. So 4 to 5 slaves will be created and those will be attached to the master node. Job creation will happen on the master. Job execution will happen on the slave node. So how to work with that master and slave configuration? So in detail, step by step, I have given that document. First one, create the Jenkins server. We already have that. No need to create. Step 2, create Jenkins slave, creating one EC2 instance. So this EC2 instance, I'm taking it as Ubuntu machine. You can take Amazon Linux also, no problem. Create EC2 instance, Ubuntu with the T2 micro. Free tier is sufficient for this because just we need to run the job. Ubuntu with the T2 micro. Connect it to that machine using Mobile Extreme, then install the Git client, then install Java, create one directory under home Ubuntu, that is slave node, right? So in order to create the directory, we are using a command called mkdir slave node. You can give any directory. So the directory we are going to configure as remote root directory path. So this third step is very important, configuring the slave node in the master node. So here you need to take the DNS URL from AWS. Credential, this is very important step. Copying the private key from the PEM file. So to copy the private key from the PEM file, we need to execute this cat command on the git bash. Then you will get that. Here I have executed that. Cat PEM file. Wherever your PEM file is available, go to that location and open git bash and execute this command. It will give you PEM file. So copy that PEM file and configure that PEM file. You need to select the option username with a SSH key, private key, SSH username with the private key. Once it is added, our slave configuration is completed. Then create the Jenkins job. So when we are creating the Jenkins job, we need to select the option restrict where this project can run and enter the slave node label and finish the job creation. So once we have done and execute the job, once we execute the job, we can see in the console output, clearly it is showing that Jenkins job executed on the remote machine. That is our slave machine. Okay, guys, fine. So here in this slave machine, we have not installed Maven because Maven we configured as a global tool. When we configure that as a global tool, it will take the Maven configuration from the Jenkins itself. Manually, we have not installed that. Perfect. So with this, we understood what is master and slave configuration in the Jenkins. Fine. The next topic in the Jenkins, that is, we need to go for Jenkins pipeline. Jenkins pipeline, I will start on Monday. So this Saturday, Sunday, we don't have classes, guys. So I want you to practice all the topics related to Jenkins. And from Monday, we are going to start with Jenkins pipelines creation. The most important concept in the Jenkins pipeline creation, because in the real time, every project will be deployed with the pipelines. Okay, guys. Auto scaling is available in the Jenkins. No, auto scaling is not there in the Jenkins. Right? Fine. Good. Any questions? Anyone having? You can unmute and you can ask me.
Sir, so when we deployed Tomcat last time,
Yes.
the same place where we configure the slave also, right, sir? Wherever we need to deploy, we need to install the slave on the same place.
Correct. Correct.
Ashok,
So,
I have a question.
sir, we can create multiple slave at a time in Jenkins. Is it
Yes,
possible?
you can create multiple slaves. You can attach them with the master. So now you need to repeat second step and third step for that. So in the second step, I created one Jenkins slave and I attached that to the master. If you want one more slave, then create one more machine, attach that machine with the master, give the label as different, slave 1, slave 2, slave 3, like that. You can create any number of slaves and you can attach with the master.
So this is actually only method to connect the master, or multiple is there any way to connect the master actually?
This is the only way.
Ashok, so in the starting of the Jenkins, we have used T2 micro, if you remember, correct?
First time for the master machine, I used micro. As I told you, Jenkins is a heavyweight software. It is not sufficient with the micro. I change it to medium.
So, but now when we have created slave, we have used T2 micro, right? But it is still working fine. Or is it because Jenkins are not available? That is the only reason?
That is the only reason. Jenkins software is there in the master machine. Jenkins is heavyweight software. In the slave machine, Jenkins is not available. Just job will run here. Na? Medium is sufficient. Micro is sufficient for that.
Okay. Another question, like we have seen that private key, right? using
Correct.
Git bash.
Right.
How can we see that using this Linux machine?
Same
Can
cat
we-
command.
So how do we get into Git bash there?
No. You need to upload your file into this location. Na? So you have that file in your system. That file, from that file, you need to get the data. Just a cat space file name. It will print the content of the file. That's it.
No,
If you
I
want to
didn't get-
execute that in the Linux, you need to upload that into your Linux machine. Then do the cat file name. You will get that content.
Okay, I'll try. Thanks.
Yep.
So if we have two slaves, and how can we say in master that if slave one is busy, use slave two?
So that whenever we are working with that, right, we need to configure that slaves, or we can pass the slaves dynamically by using
Like-
parameterized option. But
Where
it's
can we
not
do
like
that?
if slave one is busy, go for slave two, that is not there. So what we need to do is whenever the job is creating, we need to specify that in which slave it has to execute.
So I have a question actually. So when you are creating master and slave, this actually master created actually Ubuntu, slave created Cinder.
It can be anything. It can be anything.
Oh, that doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
So one the master.
Because whenever we are attaching the master and slave, we are taking the host address of the slave and we are giving the username and private key of that slave. So based on the host address, master can connect with the slave. It can be Ubuntu or it can be Amazon Linux or it can be something else also. Because based on the address, based on the DNS we are giving, it will connect with that machine to run the job.
The issue is actually that must be in the same region, is correct?
Right. Yeah. Machines will be on the same region.
Otherwise, it won't connect actually.
Even if it is in a different region, also no problem, because based on the address only it is connecting, right? Even if it is a different region, also no issue.
Okay.
Sure. How to create the group in the user management? Because we have learned for the users, right? Manage users option, but there was no option to create the groups over there. I tried to do that.
Okay, I will check that, sir. Where is that option? I will ping you that in the group.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, can we restrict the user access in slave also?
User access in the slave means?
Means like suppose my file is executing in slave node, so someone can access.
No. So generally that user management with respect to permissions in the Jenkins master machine, right? In the slave, nothing will be there. Just a job will be executed on the slave. No need to manage anything in the slave. Just execution will happen there. That's it. Na? Whatever the permissions we want to restrict, we will restrict on the master node itself.
Okay.
And first of all, we don't give the slave details to all the team members. Na?
Okay.
Because they don't need to do anything with the slave machine. Just they need to run the job in the master. When the job is started in the master will give the task to slave for the execution. That's it.
Okay. Sir, can we use PPK file also?
Anything that if you need the private key, you need to copy that key, then you need to paste there.
Okay.
Whether it can be PEM or PPK, you need to get the private key and you need to paste it.
Sir.
So we'll create the RSA token. You can create the RSA token in the master node and connect with the slave node. Correct?
That also can be done. Yes.
Okay.
Sir, my question is, in real time, do we use master and slave architecture?
100%.
Sir, but I read that in real time there is certain issues that we face, because in slave, suppose we have 10 machines in slave, and if we need to upgrade the Java version, we have to do it manually, right?
No, there is a Ansible software is available for automatic configuration management.
And once the again, suppose we are using in cloud, so the cost is more, because once the job is done, it's running, because we don't perform the job every time, right?
Right. So cost wise, you don't need to worry that clients are going to take care of it. It depends upon the project. All the projects will use master and slave. No projects will use master and slave. We can't come to that conclusion. Suppose if your project is having only 4 to 5 jobs, then you no need to go for master and slave. Suppose if your project is microservices, there are 50 microservices available, 50 jobs are available. In that scenario, definitely you have to go for the master and slave.
Sir, do we have any other options like?
No. If you want to distribute the job execution, this is the only option in the Jenkins. We don't have any other option. The other option means you need to create multiple Jenkins masters.
Can we use slave means Docker container as a slave means once the work is done, it's finishes automatically.
Docker Kubernetes we can use. That is different story. First of all, your job build should happen on that, right?
Okay.
So
And
how to integrate Jenkins with Dockers and Kubernetes, I will come. Once our pipeline is completed, then I will show you Docker and Kubernetes integration with the pipeline.
so what is the difference between actually Jenkins and GitLab?
Both in the GitLab also we have the option to trigger the builds, whatever the scripts that we can write in the GitLab as well. Nowadays, some projects are using GitLab actions directly to do the deployments, and some projects are going for Jenkins. Jenkins is open source.
Oh, so any difference between anything? But actually, so Jenkins, GitLab also doing the same job, but actually,
Right.
this is a open source tool, but we can use the common anywhere.
Right.
GitLab is actually only compatible with the AWS, correct? Or how does it?
No, sir. I did not experience with the GitLab. I will check that once.
Okay.
Not only with AWS, it can work with
GitLab is also parallel for Bamboo.
In the GitLab also we can trigger the jobs, guys. So we can do the pipeline creation in the GitLab actions. Okay, for time being, forget about the GitLab. We did not discuss that. So let's focus on the Jenkins first. Any questions with respect to Jenkins?
Sir, if we run the jobs on different slaves, then what is its advantage? Does it reduce the time or does it
reduce? Simple example. So now I have 10 tasks to complete. If I give all the 10 tasks to you, what is the problem?
Yeah, it will take time for one.
It will take time and it will be a burden for you. Instead of giving the 10 tasks to single person, if I give 10 tasks to 5 people, for every person 2 tasks, then what will happen? Will be completed quickly. Same process, same thing.
So just means that we can say that different users is also there, so they can perform that task, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Instead of running all the jobs in one machine, I want to run the jobs in the multiple machines so that job execution will be faster, burden will be less on the machine.
In this case, the microservices come into the picture. So the microservices are one service actually running in the one slave, other services running in the other slave. Is that correct actually?
Yes, you can do that. So if you have 10 microservices, so for 10 microservices, 10 Jenkins jobs will be available. So 10 jobs, I don't want to run on the one machine. I will run the jobs in the multiple machines.
Yeah, for example, 2 minutes. For example, actually, the login task actually that's run in the one job. Another actually in the data loaded in that another job. We can do that one. Is correct?
Right, we can do that. Because every microservice is independent. Every microservice will have its own job. That job. One job I will run in the slave 1, another job I will run in the slave 2, another job I will run in the slave 3. Like this.
So depend upon our comfortability or that the company will they provide that any instruction to that one.
Correct.
Okay.
I think running the microservices is a different thing than building the microservices.
Execution is different, build process is different. That we will discuss in the project setup. Okay.
Ashok sir, actually, I was running this on the side when you were telling. In my case, it was saying that cannot run program MVN on that slave machine.
Yeah, so you need to select the global tool properly. So follow the document and do the setup.
Okay, I'll do that.
So one more. Yeah, one more last question. So the API application run actually what is the thing actually? I didn't get that a little clarity about that one.
Sir, API or application both are same. API means it is a REST API. Application means sometimes it may contain the UI also. API means only business logic will be there. UI will not be available. Okay. Microservice is called as APIs.
APIs. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect, guys. Good. I will upload these notes. So please practice all the topics that we learned in the Jenkins. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend, I'm not taking the classes. We'll meet again on Monday. In the Monday session, we are going to start with pipeline creations. Okay, guys. Good. Thank you. We'll see you on Monday.